Hello and welcome to the Food Connections podcast, the podcast that connects you with the food you eat. I'm Dr. Laura Wyness, a registered nutritionist and one of Scotland's regional food tourism ambassadors. I'm interested in all things related to food and nutrition, and I love learning more about the food we eat, how it's made, and getting to know the people involved in making our food. This episode is all about chocolate. I'm joined by Sebastian Kobelt, an award-winning chocolatier. Sebastian has worked in some of the world's most prestigious hotels and Michelin-starred restaurants, and his drive for quality and perfection started from an early age, helping his grandfather in the family bakery during school holidays. In time, Sebastian gained the accolade of German Chocolate Master, which is a title held by only a small number of individuals. He then progressed to become a finalist in the World Chocolate Masters, and earlier this year his business was recognised by the Scottish Excellence Awards, winning Patisserie of the Year, and Sebastian personally was awarded Chocolatier of the Year. I'm really grateful Sebastian has found some time out of his busy schedule to chat with me. I'm sure this is probably a very busy time of year for chocolatiers. I'm looking forward to finding out more about chocolate and the work that goes into making such interesting and delicious tasting chocolates and cakes. I hope you enjoy listening. Welcome to this episode of Food Connections. I'm delighted to be joined by Sebastian Kobelt. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
Or should I call you Seb, actually?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Which do you prefer?
It's the name of the business as well, I suppose. But in the probably in the course of the chat, just shorten it to Seb.
Seb's easier. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I know you through your partner Vivian, so I know a little bit about what you do. But do you want to explain what your business is and what you do?
Yeah. So I run a business bearing my own name, Sebastian Kobelt, Chocolatier Patissier. We're based in the beautiful Linlithgow, just outside of Edinburgh. And we're making our own chocolates, believe it or not. So yeah, we handcrafted from scratch every single one. And we've done that for just over 10 years now. Part of my business model is that we do two different ways. We supply hotels and restaurants, and after 10 years now, nationwide, I may say so. And we also sell our chocolates and other creations through our online shop.
Fantastic. So I imagine at this time of year, coming up to Christmas, is quite a busy time for you.
We're usually busy all around. The beauty of doing both wholesale and retail is that it sort of takes turns. So the traditional busy periods like Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter is very busy with retail, and then the rest of the year, hotels. You can imagine Edinburgh with a tourist season, so they're gonna or the Edinburgh Festival. They're busy the rest of the year as well.
Yeah. Now you are a kind of multi-award winning chocolatier and patisserie of the year. You've got so many different awards now, but it kind of all started when you were quite young, is that right? Or from a very young age?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, in my childhood. So I grew up in Germany, and my granddad used to run a bakery in Berlin. So he was a very cunning man, and he took me in my school holidays at a very young age, and it was as a small boy, it was brilliant just to see the inner workings of a bakery. You know how bread is made from scratch. We're talking about we're talking mid 80s now, and a lot of these convenience products they're available for bakers nowadays just weren't available at that time. I remember my granddad getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning just to feed the sourdough and everything. It's just completely different time, and I'm really grateful that I've seen these things, and they I still remember these things, and it just really shaped the way I think about food. And it's from an early age, I wanted to become a baker or a pastry chef. Sometimes, or year after year in school, the teacher would ask, what the children would want to become when they grow up. And for me, it was was always baker or pastry chef. So after a couple of years, they just didn't bother asking me anymore because they knew the answer. So yeah.
That was it. It was decided already. So did you start baking bread in the bakery, or was it a variety of baked goods?
Well, I was allowed to help, but it was the seed was planted back then. There was is a funny little anecdote. I'm also coincidentally I like to have a good lion, or used to have before I worked in hospitality. And my granddad, they used to employ or he used to employ two women that would do all the cakes, the sort of traditional buttercream cakes and all these kind of things. And I remember we having a conversation, and he said, I don't think you're going to be a baker because baker have to get up very early in the morning. And I said, how about the pastry chefs there, your ladies? And he said, well, they can, they only start at 5 o'clock. And I said, okay, that's the done deal.
That's it.
Pastry chef. And it's just 30, no, not even 30, 40 years later. I'm a pastry chef still.
Okay, so not too early in the morning then. That's a start.
Not too early in the morning. It has changed a lot since. So yeah.
And of course, you have worked in hospitality as well. So you've had many jobs in pretty good restaurants right around the world. Do you want to share a bit of that, or how did you get into that?
It was just I mean, when I grew up in the 80s, I grew up in the eastern part of Germany, so we were completely closed off. And my generation or my year was when the wall came down. I was 15, so I think my generation was the first that benefited of the whole Eastern Europe, the wall coming down, Germany reuniting. And what I then very early sort of what I became aware of, that I could do both. I could work in hospitality and combine it with travels. So it was a completely new world, so, and I suppose I took full advantage of that. I've been working on the cruise ship. I've been working in the Middle East. I've been working in all over Europe. And it's now almost 20 years ago, I came to Scotland and settled here.
And I guess with that experience, you get to know different cuisines and different cooking styles.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you imagine you go on holidays, something always rubs off, and even more so when you spend some time in a certain country, or when you go to markets. When I remember back working on the cruise ship, we've been in a different country almost every day. But you always had the chance to go ashore and see something, whether it's a market, whether it's just sitting down for coffee. But something would always inspire you. So, and that
Yeah.
you sort of soak this up, and it becomes part of your style after a while.
And so when did you move into doing more chocolate or working with chocolate more?
It was not until I actually was here in Scotland. So I worked in a little castle hotel just south of Edinburgh at the time, and I was invited to participate in a chocolate competition entirely dedicated to chocolate, and that was in Germany, and I really wanted to do it. Actually won the competition, which I never thought would happen. But as part of that, winning the competition, I got to represent Germany at the World Chocolate Master Finals.
Wow.
And that's really opens your eyes. It was, I think at the time was 22 nations competed against each other. And just to see the other 20 plus individuals, everybody's come up with something completely different, and everyone had the same theme though. So it was really eye-opener. And when I returned and it came to planning my own business then, at some point, chocolate was top of the list.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it was, a little bit sort of a business decision as well, because it wasn't as expensive as a full fitted pastry kitchen. I really started very small, with a table and a fridge and a little tempering machine.
I've looked at your website before, and you've got a few pictures of I think it's the showpiece from the German World Chocolate Makers. It's like a work of art. It's a sculpture almost. It's pretty stunning.
It is a sculpture. You're always a bit more critical with yourself, aren't you? I've seen the centerpieces of the other participants, and that competition is held every 2 years. So since then, there were a number of competitions, and the whole level has just grown from year to year. Also because there's better tools available, there's better techniques. If you just think back in terms of food, Heston Blumenthal, when he started, nobody heard of molecular gastronomy. And 5 years later, you have all these new tools that he was using, and you have all these new ingredients. And it is just something that develops and evolves with new talent coming through.
Yeah, and I take it you do actually get to eat the entrance or the sculptures as well. They don't go to waste.
No,
surely not.
So there will be people that probably have a little taste,
a little nibble.
You probably would take you weeks to eat through that solid.
I'd give it a go.
So the centerpieces as well, they're designed in a way. I mean, you can't cheat gravity. So when a chocolate centerpiece is 2 meters tall, it has to have a structure. To be able to still sit there and be looked at.
Yeah. So talking about chocolate then, just to understand more about what it is you do, where do you get your chocolate from? Because of course chocolate doesn't grow in Scotland. So
yeah, unfortunately not.
So where do you get your chocolate from, and how do you process it, or what do you do with it when you get it?
So we have two different ways of sourcing our chocolate. We do a small amount of bean to bar chocolate ourselves, so which means that I get the beans from a supplier abroad, the roasted cocoa beans, and I have a little grinder, tabletop grinder, and we process or make the chocolate for certain things ourselves. The other thing is because the volume in which we produce for our hotel clients is so huge, we buy chocolate in as well, which comes ready mixed. There's a whole range of varies from origin chocolates, which means they're from a certain origin in South America or Africa. You can have a blend. In many aspects of the availability of chocolate and the process of chocolate making, you can compare it to coffee.
Okay.
It's very similar. Coffee beans are roasted. They grow only in particular regions of the world. Chocolate, the cocoa bean or the cocoa bean trees themselves, they only grow around the equator, which explains why it is so sought after, why it is relatively expensive if you only have a certain region in the world where you can grow these things. And some varieties have only a very small yield of the chocolate. So that also explains the huge difference in prices. But most of the chocolates for our retail business, we mix ourselves or we make bean to bar.
So are all cocoa beans the same then?
So we have no. In fact, you have different varieties. We have 4 different types of cocoa beans, or 4 different varieties of the actual tree, which differ a lot from each other. One is the Criollo bean, it's called. It makes up only about 2% of the world production of chocolate comes from the Criollo bean. Main reason for that is that it has a very low yield. And it's very difficult to grow. So it's very vulnerable to pests or diseases and to temperature changes, which makes it even more difficult these days. The second one is the Forastero bean, which makes up I think about 80% come just from South America. 80% of the world production just South America and Africa. It's less susceptible to diseases and has a lot higher yield, so makes it perfect for mass production. And then a third one we have is a Trinitario. It originated in Trinidad, as the name suggests. And I think it was, from what I gathered, was just a sort of cross-pollination between Criollo and Forastero. So it's a hybrid of the former two. And it has some of the high quality and flavor profiles of the very high quality Criollo bean, but is more robust like the Forastero. And the fourth one is the Nacional, and that's only grown in South America, in Ecuador and Peru, I think. And it's really just specific to that area.
Wow, I never realized there's different types of bean to consider as well. Fascinating. So what does it mean getting the bean into the bar? What's the process?
So bean to bar is the process of the harvest of the cocoa pod and until it is packed up as a little chocolate bar. So what it involves is the harvest of the cocoa pod, which contains among other things, the cocoa beans. So they get cracked open. The cocoa beans are enclosed in a membrane. To get this off, is all getting put into a fermentation box.
Mm-hmm.
These things were fermented for about 5 days, I believe it is. And then the membrane just falls off and you're left with the actual cocoa bean, which in the fermentation process loses some of the bitterness as well. Then the cocoa beans being laid out in the sun and dried for, I think it's up to 10, 14 days, just getting them really dry. What it also does is that there's still a little shell around the beans, which gets taken off later. After the drying process, it's still too much water content in the beans to make it to chocolate, so they get roasted. That is just like it's like the coffee beans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they get, for a short period of time, they're being roasted, anything between 120 and 160 degrees Celsius. And then that enables you, when they then get cracked, which is the winnowing process, that when the little shell that I mentioned before comes off, and you're actually left with the pure cocoa bean that gets made into chocolate. So for that to happen, you have to grind it first, and that can, depending on the desired result, can take hours to days to grind them in it's like a mill. It's like a millstone. That's when it get really finely ground. And then after that, it goes into the conch, which makes it really nice and smooth, that you have that silky mouth feel that you know from chocolate. And after that, you can temper it, which is a must for chocolate,
Mm-hmm.
and then fill it into your molds, and you have chocolate.
And when you say temper chocolate, what does that mean again?
So the tempering process is something you have to follow in order to have the snap. So when you imagine you sort of break a piece of the chocolate, that's the snap.
Okay.
And also that only happens if the chocolate contains cocoa butter. That doesn't happen if it contains any other fats. So the snap is really proof of quality. And also there's cocoa butter within the chocolate has a number of crystals, 5 or 6, I believe it is. Only one of these crystals is responsible for the sheen of the chocolate in the end. So if you don't temper the chocolate, you have the wrong crystallization within the chocolate, and sometimes you can have gray chocolate. So that's when you leave it out in the sun or in the heat, and you put it back in the fridge, and you take it out, it might look like gray, looks almost moldy.
Or it goes a bit
It is not
dull.
just,
Yeah.
It's just the chocolate gets partially melted and then sets again. But because you didn't follow the tempering process, it sets as a gray or like a streaky chocolate.
Okay, so you've got to handle the beans with care and to do the snap test for quality.
Exactly.
Okay, and is there better quality chocolates than others?
Yeah, well, there's again, it's like wine or cocoa.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the chocolate, I can tell you what doesn't make a good chocolate, and that is sugar.
Okay.
So as simple as that. Everything else is really open to discussion. A chocolate that you might like, I might not prefer. It's also the time of the day can influence your taste.
Oh, okay.
But um, but after all, it is the cocoa beans or the cocoa available on the world market has always the same price. So when you talk about supermarket chocolate, these producers get the cocoa beans to the exact same price as I do. What they do differently from me is they add more sugar. That's what makes the supermarket chocolate cheaper than my chocolate.
Yeah, because once you start adding sugar, well, sugar and fat as well, because there's a lot more
Yeah.
sugar and fat in the milk chocolate and the white chocolate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's the point as well that artisan chocolate makers, when you as a customer check the ingredients label, and an artisan maker should never use anything else but cocoa butter. It's the natural fat occurring in the cocoa bean, and there's the most expensive fat in the world as well. So the what cocoa butter makes so unique is that cocoa butter is the only fat that is solid at room temperature, and when you put it in your mouth, it melts. When you think about of any other fat, it's not. And I mean solid. I don't mean like paste like butter at room temperature. I really mean
Mhm.
solid substance.
Yeah. I always say to my clients to kind of aim for the 70 plus cocoa bean in a chocolate, or the darker the chocolate, the better, because it tends to have more of the good stuff in it. So the minerals like iron and magnesium and zinc and potassium. And dark chocolate also has a variety of beneficial plant compounds called polyphenols or antioxidants, which are beneficial for a variety of reasons, and fiber as well, which is great for feeding our gut microbes. So there's a lot of good things in chocolate, particularly the dark chocolate.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's generally open to discussion. I'm not telling anyone which chocolate to eat, but you're absolutely right with in regards to the nutrition aspect. Also, if I may add that is that when we make our own bean to bar chocolate, we tend to use brown sugar, coconut sugar, just because the nutritional value is better than the processed white sugar. That's for one, and then you can add so many other things that at the moment I'm experimenting. I want to make a vegan white chocolate, and I'm experimenting with adding hemp seed to it.
Oh, okay.
It's for two reasons. One is the nutritional reason. The second reason is I'm trying to make it more creamy. So there's many things you can use as substitutes, which a lot of companies do,
Mm-hmm.
and to some ideas prove to be successful, and some you just end up in the drawer somewhere.
Yeah, you got to try things out. But that sounds quite interesting using
Yeah,
hemp seeds, did you say? Yeah.
yeah.
I'll have to look out for that.
It's just nowadays. I mean, there's a business point of view. It makes more sense for me to work with things that are not on the allergy list, meaning that you can do it quite easily with almonds. Um, but then obviously I sort of restrict myself. So you try to come up with something that to keep it as broad as possible.
Yeah.
You know, without allergies. It's just the something you or I feel I'm bound by as a uh, food producer, as a artisan food producer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to restrict yourself or you restrict your market.
It sounds like you are trying out lots of different things with your chocolates, and I know you are really innovative with your flavors, especially because you've got a huge range of different and amazing sounding flavors, very tasty. So one of my questions was, where do you get your inspiration for the flavors? Where is it just trial and error, or do you have some kind of, oh, that might work with that, or just from past experience?
Yeah, it is past experience. I do have a little black book lying somewhere of the combination that worked.
All right.
No, it's mostly experience, I think. And what we're trying to do is combine something that people do know with something they don't. In my experience, what works is people more likely to be put off if you present them with something that they don't know, where they're not quite, adventurous enough to try it. So you pair it with something they do know, which takes away the fear of I don't know, being disappointed or that they don't like it.
Yeah.
And the second thing is we're heavily influenced by seasons as well. So I'm always trying to update my chocolate flavors according to the seasons. At the moment, we're obviously going into the festive period, and what we use is quite funnily. I've seen you have done a podcast previously on sea buckthorn, so
Yeah.
we're big fans of sea buckthorn, which a lot of people don't know grows along the coastline of Scotland. Little orange berries. So if you go for a little beach walk and you see them, they're most likely to be thorny bushes, most likely to be sea buckthorn. It's an amazing flavor that you wouldn't necessarily think could grow in Scotland or would grow in Scotland. And we also have a flavor that I came up with a couple of years ago, Douglas fir. So just for Christmas, it's a very, very festive flavor, where we use real Douglas fir needles, and we infuse them with a cream before we make the ganache, which is the filling for our chocolates.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, I mean, the Douglas fir chocolate, how do you get the flavor of the fir tree needles into the chocolate so it's actually infused?
It's really just an infusion process, but
Yeah.
it's quite complicated. It took me a long time to actually get it spot on, and we're at the point now where we've got it at spot on. One of the things that I might give away, or I can give away, is that you cannot heat them too much because then it turns bitter. I had to experience it myself very painfully. If you have
Okay.
a batch and then you have to bin it because it's all just gone bitter. But it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimenting, and we got there in the end, which I'm very happy about. I personally like it, but it has proven to be a bit of a Marmite case. So some people love it, some people are not too convinced by it.
Yeah.
You can, when I'm asked, I always say that it tastes like you stand next to the Christmas tree. That's really how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can imagine yourself walking through a forest of
Yeah.
Douglas fir trees.
A couple of years ago, we made a whole selection with fir trees grown in Scotland.
Oh, really?
It was 4 or 5, and it's absolutely incredible the way the flavor differs with the same recipe, just the different needles. And out of all of them, Douglas fir is still my favorite because it has very intense citrusy notes.
Ah, it's fascinating. Because I was reading up about Douglas fir, I was doing a bit of Google research, as you do, and it was actually a Scottish botanist, David Douglas, who took over the first Douglas fir seeds from North America back to Britain in about 1872. And it's now one of the tallest trees in the UK and grows up to about 500 years and 60 meters tall. So a fantastic tree to have in a chocolate, I would say. And I know that the sea buckthorn one with the marzipan combination, that sounds ideal for me anyway. Really looking forward to trying that one. And the Cranachan truffles, are they one of your top sellers, would you say?
Yes, they are. I think at the moment the most popular flavors are still salted caramel. They're still our most popular one.
Okay.
Which are our truffles. The Cranachan we have to bring back. You know what we actually did again with plays into seasonality. I haven't done it for 2 years now. Sometimes you just have to put some things on the back burner and then bring them back because, you know, that's how you create demand as well. But we've done what we call a winter Kraniken.
Okay.
So the traditional Kraniken is with raspberries and cream, oats and honey.
Bit of whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey. And so we use the Scottish heather honey, and but we then replace the raspberry for apple compote. It's like apples with cardamom and cinnamon, so a nice wintry mix,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that goes really well. Apples go with oats as well, so it goes really well. And yeah, I need to bring that back.
Sounds absolutely delicious. Is there any particularly satisfying product that you enjoy making the most? Because you make quite a variety of things and cakes as well. I've seen some of your amazing creations that you've done. So is there anything that you're really proud of?
Well, I have to say I do miss my cakes a little bit. It's just the nature
Mhm.
of the business, I think. So our high street shop fell victim to COVID. I closed the high street shop just after lockdown one, and we then focused more on the online shop and on hotels and restaurants. And what we realized soon after was that we sold so many cakes when the shop was open, and we put like a selection on the online shop as well, and they just wouldn't sell the same way. It's just something you go into a shop,
Mm.
it's an impulsive buy. You see it, you smell it, and it's just not the same on the online shop. You can have the prettiest picture you want. You just don't sell the same number.
Yeah.
So we stuck for the time being. We still have our signature chocolate cake on there, but we sort of stopped all the other cakes. It was just not viable to do it. But yeah, I do miss these cakes a little bit.
Yeah, I've seen the cakes that you've made for your wee boys' birthdays in the past, and they've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
really good.
Oh, that's pressure. I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
you, everybody expects, the out of the world cake, and every year, so you have to
Yeah.
try to be better than the last year every time.
Yeah, no, they're stunning. They're helping in the business as well, I believe, doing some deliveries. Is that right?
I think they've become my biggest fans now since they realized. So they're 4 and 3 now, and since they realize what I do for a living, so every time I say we need to go to my work or we just have to stop for a second, I just have loud cheers in the car, just running around in the chocolate kitchen. And our youngest one, he helped the other day. I had to just drop something off quickly with a customer, and he said, "I wanna help. I wanna carry it." So he carried one cake box, and I carried the rest. So he's done really well, though.
Great little helper, starting young,
Yeah,
young
yeah.
in the business as well. Yeah, I'd imagine Christmas is a busy time for you. So what's your kind of plans for Christmas, or are you going to get time off?
I do have. I believe this year I will have a little 1 or 2 days
Mhm.
more than the other years because of the way Christmas falls. I think it's just spread across the Sunday, Monday then.
Yeah.
We're usually busy right up to Christmas Eve,
Mhm.
and then we take the Christmas Day and the Boxing Day off, and then we're back in the kitchen straight away for another week, and then we gonna take the January off. So
Yeah.
that's our reward for a long year hard work.
Yeah. And what's on the menu over Christmas?
Oh, it will be with my partner, she's vegetarian or pescatarian, so it will be something along those lines. We usually try 2 dishes just for the boys to get used to it as well. So I had last year, I made a duck for myself and for the boys to try, and we've had scallops, and then it was, I believe, we did a little lobster, tiny one.
Very nice. Sounds absolutely delicious. Is that kind of coming from your experience working in the Michelin star restaurants?
No, it just I really, it sounds funny and probably a bit crazy, but I do enjoy cooking. I just at home cooking is such a different thing, and especially when you have the family around. And the boys absolutely love it. They have their little toy kitchen, and whenever Biff and I are in the kitchen, they're in their little kitchen and cooking something up as well.
Oh, sounds great. Just to finish off, do you have a favorite meal or a particular food or a food memory that you want to share?
To be honest, it's not one particular one. What I, after all these years, have learned to appreciate again is all these German classics I've been sick of when I was in Germany. Like a Stollen. I like a good Stollen. I can make my own one. That's for a start. That's a good thing. Most of the baking I can make myself, which is an added benefit when you're a pastry chef or a chocolatier. So if I crave that, I'll just make it for the family. But one thing food memory goes back to my grandpa in his bakery. He used to do. I don't know whether it was an East German thing. I don't think I've seen it since. Was a ham in a sourdough bread. So it was like a whole big ham. It's almost half a pork in big sourdough.
Wow.
It took two people to carry the tray, and they would do that for New Year's Eve. And that's one of the earliest memory. I just remember from the bakery the smell of the sourdough and the ham in the kitchen. It was just really delicious.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me and explaining a bit more about what you do. It's been fascinating just hearing about the work that you do and the creations and the flavours and where you get your inspiration from. And yeah, I'm looking forward to enjoying some chocolate.
So thank you so much for having me. And I think it wasn't hard to, or my passion has shone through. I think I sometimes get a bit carried away, but it's just the, when you're passionate about something, there's no hiding it.
No, absolutely.
Or you shouldn't do it anyway.
Yeah. And yeah, working with chocolate and patisseries is such an amazing place to work.
Yeah. Brilliant. Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and enjoy Christmas.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this Food Connections podcast. Do check out the show notes for some useful links related to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could give it a rating and leave a wee review. And please do spread the word and tell others about it. If you have any comments or suggestions for future guests, do get in touch. Thanks again for listening. Have a happy Christmas and see you next time.